What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Show. I'm AJ Gills. How y'all doing? It is time once more for the weekly show, and if this title of this week's show hasn't told you anything, I have finally made a decision about this show and what day I'm actually going to start doing this on, and I have decided that I am going to actually move this show to Sunday. The reason for this is just from at least this first, about month or 3 weeks or however many weeks I've been working, or actually, in my actual position now, I typically have Sunday off. So it's a lot easier for me to do this show on Sundays than it is for me to do it on Saturdays. The only reason, I usually like to have this up midday. The reason this is up later tonight is because I had that weird thing where I went to bed at about 7 in the morning, and without actually really realizing it, I slept for about 12 hours. I don't know how the hell that happened, but I slept for about 12 hours. At least now I'm wide awake and I'm ready to get some shit done. Either way, it's time for episode 160 of the weekly show. Just my general announcement for those of you who are new to this program. Basically what we do, we read gaming articles. I've got a video at the very end of this. It's about 11 minutes of the new Blair Witch game. It's commented on by Game Informer or whatever. Not a huge fan of when they do stuff like that, because a lot of times I feel like they don't sit and analyze shit. I feel like they just kind of sit and joke around or whatever, but whatever. I'm not saying I don't joke around too. It's just, I don't know. It's a little less serious than I want, but either way, we're going to take a look at that video just to actually see what the new Blair Witch game looks like in action. Other than that, really don't have a whole hell of a lot of articles for you guys. It's a pretty light week this week. Other than that, we started a couple new series. I have the first part up for Wolfenstein Youngblood, and at least I think 4 parts for Fire Emblem Three Houses. I have been absolutely obsessed with that game as of late. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else, so you can go check those out if you want. Other than that, I think that's about it. Let's actually hop into the news. Oh wait, actually there's one last thing I do want to bring up. As always, down in the description below are links to every article and video and timestamps of when each topic is hit. So if maybe one doesn't grab your attention, you can skip around as you would like. Now let's actually hop into the news. And the first story we have up, early last week, I saw something about this, that there's apparently a new Red Dead Redemption 2 DLC in the works at Rockstar. Well, apparently this is a fake, and an article here by Matt Kim on IGN. I thought this is a good thing to start off with. This is how it kind of went out of hand. This is, I think, probably our largest article that we got this week. Excuse me. Article reads, a Red Dead Redemption 2 leak about an alien-themed DLC began spreading online over the weekend, but today the originator of the leak confessed that it was all a lie posted to see how easily rumors can spread online. Really, you don't need to run a test on that because the answer is quite easily. That's at least my opinion. On Saturday, user U_throwaway11113453 published, that's a weird-ass name, published a supposed leak. He was told by a Rockstar employee, friend of theirs, in the r/gaming leaks and rumors subreddit. Although the leak has been removed by the mods, it essentially proposed the following details. 1. There is a single-player DLC for Red Dead Redemption 2 in the works, centering on aliens, similar to the Red Dead Redemption 2's Undead Nightmare DLC. The first Red Dead Redemption is being completely remade with new features and graphics introduced in Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay, 1. I guess I'll actually touch on both these points. The first point, that would actually be awesome if it was true, and I'm kind of hoping now that they've said it, Rockstar will kind of take it and go, that actually sounds like a cool idea, and actually do something with that. Kind of like with that leak, I think we talked about that 2 weeks ago, on what GTA 6 would be. Another really cool idea for a game that I kind of hope, even if it is fake, Rockstar hears about it and goes, that's actually a neat idea. Let's try and do something around that. And also, the remaking of Red Dead Redemption 1 with the graphics and everything for Red Dead 2, I'm like, 1, no way in hell that's happening, but it would be awesome, but no way in hell it's happening. Sorry. The leak was highly suspect, but became even more widespread after it was picked up by YouTubers and multiple media outlets. However, the same user who spread the leak over the weekend published their confession on the r/gaming leaks and rumors subreddit today. Quote, there is no DLC for Red Dead Redemption 2 or remake of the first game as far as I know, end quote, they wrote. Instead, the user claimed that the original leak was, quote, an experiment, end quote, they conducted to observe the spread of, quote, rumors in video game culture, end quote, though it's more likely this was a prank gone wrong, considering how the poster said that they were feeling guilty once some big websites started reporting on the rumor. Well, I mean, yeah, no shit that... Yeah, I'm willing to bet he didn't feel guilty. I'm betting that he's, oh God, somebody's gonna, people are gonna, kind of slander, or not slander, come after him. I'm trying to think of the best word to, his name is gonna be run through the mud as soon as people figure out that this is all bullshit. So I think he's just coming out and saying, look, it was a joke, it was a whatever, which I have no doubt that it was a prank. It was somebody posting online just to try and get people to talk about it and laugh. But I think then it spread farther than he actually thought, and that the big outlets picked it up. And I think the experiment itself, I think, is bullshit. I'm willing to bet you I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts here that the thing that actually happened here was that this guy came up with this rumor as a joke, then spread to the big outlets. He thought, oh God, eventually somebody's going to look into this and find it's bullcrap. Like I said, drag his name, then just drag his name. And he just decided, look, all right, I'm going to come out and I'm going to get out in front of this and admit, yeah, it was a joke. So that's my opinion, but let's see here. They chose Red Dead Redemption 2 because they claimed it was, quote, being ignored and built their ruse on top of the alien Easter eggs found throughout the main story campaign. Quote, I put in small details I thought in my head would make sense, such as still playing as Arthur, but I stayed real vague just to build up some speculation, end quote. See, I do agree with that. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 got widely ignored. And I still think, look, I don't want to be mean to the new God of War game, because the new God of War game was phenomenal, but I thought Red Dead Redemption 2 was a better game. Overall, I thought it should have won Game of the Year last year. Again, that opinion, not fact. Just throwing that out there. In my opinion, Red Dead Redemption 2 was my favorite game last year. And I do agree. I think it is widely being ignored. But again, I think this is the issue of Rockstar right now, focusing on its online components. I mean, again, how many... I keep seeing commercials for GTA Online, and I get it. GTA Online was a massive cultural phenomenon. They just released their new casino DLC thing, which I think is actually really cool, although I find it funny that it's been banned I have to double check the number, because this number sounds way too high, but last I think I read somewhere that it said like 50 countries have banned it because of because of gambling in the game, and it's kind of funny considering a topic that we're actually going to cover a little later in the show. And also really funny because I saw that while I was at work at a casino, so that's also kind of funny. But they're focusing on all their DLCs and all their updates and everything being for the online portion of the game, but that they're almost completely ignoring the single player aspect, which I thought Red Dead Redemption 2's story with Arthur and everything, and yes, I will get back to it, the Let's Play for Red Dead Redemption 2. I've just been busy with other projects, but I will get back to it, because again, the game was fan-freaking-tastic. Again, I find it funny that GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 will both not see any single-player story, any story DLC. That's so sad, especially because I think Red Dead Online just doesn't work like GTA Online does. Not 100% sure why, because mostly I played GTA Online, I think, for about 2 hours and then quit and will never go back to it because I have zero interest in it. But Red Dead Online, I think it tried to just be a Wild West version of that, and just it didn't take off. So yeah, and again, I just don't think people really care too much about it. So again, I think honestly, I think GTA or Rockstar, excuse me, will completely abandon RDR2. I think they'll just let it just be what it is, and probably just the only thing they'll do is make small little content updates for online. But that's just my take, and I've completely skewed off the plot of this actual article, and I apologize for that. But it was just something that was kind of bouncing around in my head that kind of makes me sad that we aren't going to see any story DLC for RDR2, because I think we should see something for this game, because I think Redemption 2, I thought it was too good of a game to not see something more, you know. But again, that's my opinion. I'll get back on this article. Sorry, I kind of skewed off there. Where the hell were we? They also said that they wanted to see a remake of the first Red Dead Redemption with, quote, all the bells and whistles, end quote, of the sequel, so they added that into their leak as well. Quote, I learned that some people will believe anything that someone says if it sounds believable, the user said. And also that mass media is a powerful tool. Over 70,000 people at least have seen this fake leak that I wrote, and I'm glad that a majority of people saw through it, end quote. Responses to the revelation that the original poster lied about the leak has split the comments. Some are applauding the Reddit user for coming clean, while others have harsher things to say. Quote, well, that's a douchey move. Congrats, you have proved you can lie on the internet. Science thanks you, end quote. One user wrote in response to the confession. Well, see, I think the people who are saying that, I'm going to actually go back into the actual topic of the article here. I think the people who are actually saying thank you for coming clean, I think they understand that, no, this wasn't an experiment. This was a guy just, joking around on the internet and came out and said, well, okay, before this got even nuttier, went, okay, come on, guys, this is not true. This was a joke. Let's, let it go. And the people who I think just see it as, no, this was science, and, oh, you could lie on the internet. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna take let's say that this actually was an experiment. I don't think he's trying to prove that you can lie on the internet, because of course you can lie on the internet. I think that that's not a proper thing. I think he's showing how crazy it is that some random person can put something on a Reddit, or can put it on a message board somewhere, and how out of control it can grow. I stand by the reason I think that this is bullshit, the whole experiment thing, is because I think we already knew that. But at the same time, I understand I can at least understand why you might do this as research. I don't believe in any way that this was an experiment, but let's be honest, I can understand why it would be an experiment. But I still think the most plausible solution is this guy's kind of out for spreading something on the internet as a joke. That's my guess still, but yeah, whatever. Whether intentional or not, this experiment really did show how easy it is for rumors to gain traction and become news stories, especially with communication channels like YouTube, which can further amplify rumors found online, in forums, and subreddits. If Rockstar is working on single-player DLC for Red Dead Redemption 2, we'll probably not find out from a, quote, friend who works at Rockstar, end quote. Furthermore, it's more likely that Rockstar is working on additional content for Red Dead Online than single-player DLC. That is very true. I will be honest, I don't think Red Dead Redemption 2 needs more content. I think there's plenty of crap to keep you busy for hours. I mean, I'll run around and just start hunting for hours for no reason, just for fun. But, I don't know. Maybe I would like a little, extra, 5-10 hour story that they're going to put in there for single-player DLC. Because, honestly, I remember the Liberty City series from GTA 4. They were actually really good. Like Lost in the Dan, Ballad of Gay Tony. Wasn't there one more that I'm forgetting? But they were good, little side stories that had their own, that all had their own little thing to the game. I thought they were actually really good. And I wish we could see something like that for Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead 2. But whatever, that might just be me. Either way. Rockstar still regularly updates GTA Online with DLC content, including today's casino update, so Rockstar's post-launch priorities seem to lie firmly in its online offerings. Still sad to me, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that I'm right that this guy is using this guise as an experiment to give give him some sort of an out other than I was just trolling? But I really think that that's what this was. I think this guy was just trolling, and I think people getting mad at him for trolling, I think is a little... I think that's a little... I'm trying to think how best to explain what I mean by this. Look, the dude's trolling. Okay, he got us. Admit it. Let's move on. It really doesn't matter. This isn't like... you're trolling with anything. I don't want to say anything important because, I mean, in the grand scheme of the world, this is video games. You know what I mean? Okay, he made a lot of people look stupid. He made a lot of people, you know, go on and on about the, you know, these leaks or whatever that are complete bullshit. Sure. It's not like, you know, this is like he's wrecked a world peace agreement. You know, that's just what I'm getting at here. I can get why people would be a little miffed, you know what I mean? Why people would be mad at this guy, but at the same time, I don't get the whole, you know, outrage on the internet that, oh my gosh, this guy faked this. I'm like, okay, it's the internet. I'm willing to bet 99 things out of 100 things that you read on message boards are bullshit. You know, I'm willing to bet you. I really, it's why I don't read message boards, in all honesty. Again, I'm getting lost in here. What I wanted to ask you, Jesus Christ, was what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you think the whole experiment thing is a guise to hide? Yeah, when he was really just trolling, but the experiment is a way to hide the fact and give a better explanation other than I was just trolling. Or do you think this guy really was running an experiment, or even something else? I don't know, but that's my guess. I'm gonna guess he was just trolling, but and this is still getting kind of, even this article I think kind of blows this out of proportion, and I guess me talking about it blows it out of proportion. My brain hurts now. I'm gonna move on to a different topic, one that'll probably be a lot more fun. All right, guys, moving on. We're gonna be. God damn it, I love the screenshot. We're going to be talking about an article here on PC Gamer by Sean Prescott. I can't believe that Ryuga Gotoku is already working on another Yakuza game. Holy shit, guys. I mean, I guess it's easier when you don't have to build the world from the ground up, because really, I've said this a lot, that Kamurocho has been the same every single game. Nothing wrong with that. I actually like that. It adds like a really cool bit of continuity between from game to game to game to game to game. Actually, I really like that idea, but at the same time, holy shit, these guys do a lot of they do a lot of work. Like, is this just like a larger studio than I think it is? But what the hell? And I'm not even mad that they're announcing another one. I am all for it. Although I guess at the same time, I'm thinking about this from an American point of view of, holy crap, we just got Judgment a couple months ago, and they're already on to their next they're already announcing their next project. But I guess at the same time, I'm trying to think how to explain this one. At the same time, Judgment was done a long time ago. Because it released in Japan last year. What really took the time to bring it over here to the West was the localization, plus the fact that they had an entirely English voice cast, which I like, by the way. So, I guess it's I guess they had plenty of time, but still, this just seems really soon for another Yakuza game, but. Whatever. I'm not going to complain because it's more Yakuza and I love Yakuza games. So, whatever. Actually, getting into the article now. Whenever life is getting you down, it's helpful to remember that the Yakuza games exist. The past few years have seen PC ports, the first two Kiwami games in Zero, and while the most recent mainline game, Yakuza 6, still hasn't made the jump, Sega now considers the series a, quote, multi-platform one. So it's worth getting excited that a new Yakuza game will be unveiled next month, and it'll be the first since Kazuma Kiryu's story concluded. There's not much info regarding who will star in the next generation of the series, but the below teaser posted by Ryuga Gotoku's studio account suggests Yakuza Online protagonist Ichiban Kasuga will at least appear in the game. Yeah, anybody remember Yakuza Online? Yeah. The tweet promises a press conference on August 29th It's an exciting crossroads for the series after 7 main games and the recent Solve 'em Up spin-off Judgment. The shedding of Kiryu sees the Yakuza series at a crossroads. Will it still be set? I can't read for some reason. Predominantly in Kamurocho. Will karaoke return after its devastating absence in Judgment? Only time will tell. One thing seems fairly certain, though. It'll launch on PS4 before it comes to PC, so prepare for a grueling wait. Phil has had the great pleasure and responsibility of reviewing Yakuza on PC ports, and the verdicts have been favorable. The most recent port, Yakuza Kiwami 2, was described as, quote, a return to form for the singular crime series, end quote. One, I love the spin-off Judgment. I'm very much enjoying that game. And two, it's like I already said, holy shit, we're already getting another Yakuza game. I'm curious to see where they go with it. I mean, I was about to say, I was kind of thinking when I first saw this news that it would be really cool to see Yakuza kind of come into the modern age. But really, the Yakuza games have gone into the modern age, especially with 6. It's just weird to me because I haven't played 3, 4, 5, or 6. I've only played 0, 1, and 2. Well, the originals 1 and 2, 0, and then Kiwami's 1 and 2. Because I never had I didn't have a PS3, so honestly, I didn't play 6, even though it's on the PS4, because I haven't played 3, 4, 5. I still need to go back and do that, because I'm pretty sure they're on their PlayStation streaming service or whatever the hell it's called, PlayStation Now or whatever. That I really just got to bite the bullet and just get that subscription just to play those couple games. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with another Yakuza game. I have almost complete faith in Ryo Gagatoku. I usually say there are 2 studios that can just say, hey, we're working on something, and then just details fall away, and I just trust they're going to make something great, and that is Rockstar and CD Projekt Red. Those are the 2 studios that have not let me down in the past, and you know what? I'll throw out another one. Ryo Gagatoku. They have not let me down. Look, I can understand if the Yakuza games aren't your thing, but for me, I love them. I love that they have some of that goofy shit in the games that, might not make 100% sense of, like this picture. Well, why is this in this game that's supposed to be serious? Well, yeah, but that's because all the side stuff is supposed to kind of break the tension of the typically really hardcore, super serious main narrative. We're even seeing that in Judgment. Even though I still think that that in the current chapter that I'm on in Judgment, I think that they're going a little too hard on the goofiness of stuff, just kind of breaking up the plot. It just kind of feels like padding the runtime. I'm not a fan of it, but again, that's for the Judgment Let's Play to really talk about. What I'm getting at here is, I understand if the Yakuza games aren't your thing, but for me, a fan, I've not played a bad one. I really love this series, and it's just the amount of crap that you can do in these games and how they've ported old Sega games. They've really tried to capture the era that each game is set in. I think it's fantastic, and I'm really curious to see where they're going to take this series. And again, that's my opinion. Take it, again, opinion, not fact. Take it for what you will, and also knowing that I'm a fan of the series. So I'm interested. I don't know. I usually like to end the articles by kind of like giving you guys a chance of like a question and answer in the comments. But I mean, tell me what for those of you out there who are fans of the Yakuza games, tell me what would you like to see in the next Yakuza game, like the direction for the series to go. Like, would you like to continue it with the Tojo clan? With somebody who knows Kazuma, or like a already established character. Maybe you're like a young kind of like recruit into one of the families, and you're kind of like rising through the ranks, and it's going to take place over years as you kind of like rise through the ranks, or do you want to keep fighting the Yakuza like you did with Kiryu? Like exactly how would you like this story to be told? I'm that's something else I'm curious about. So. Yeah. Either way, let's we'll move on. I think the next one is another pretty short article. Moving on to an article here on Game Informer. Big Ben Interactive acquires Greedfall developer Spiders. Article Imran Khan of, as I said, Game Informer. Spiders is a really interesting developer. I think that they've come up with some really neat games with some really cool ideas. Again, I think Greedfall's got a really cool idea. It's got a great setup. I've loved the trailers. They've sold me on the game, and I am so ready to buy it when it comes out. But I don't know. There is a little bit of a fear in the back of my mind for what the Technomancer was. Because the Technomancer, again, really cool game, really cool concept. The execution on it, I feel like they wanted to do way more than they were able to make and talk about. And then ended up... What's the term? And then they ended up not being able to deliver on all of that. So I'm really afraid that, one, that's going to happen with Greedfall. But two, this acquisition actually kind of makes me excited. We'll read the article and then I'll get into why this makes me excited. So, all right, Big Ben Interactive, the publisher behind the games like The Sinking City, which I still got to get back to. The game did not grab me with its initial couple hours. Announced today that they have acquired French developer Spiders today. The new acquisition is best known for games like Bound by Flame and the upcoming release of Greedfall. The publisher Big Ben, which, despite the name, is located in France, has stated that this and prior acquisitions are part of the company's 2022 plans. The stated goal of this plan is to position the company as one of the leaders in AA video game publishing, an arena that was once more or less eliminated, but seems to be making a moderate comeback in the market. Interestingly, Spiders is yet another frequent partner of Focus Home Interactive that Big Ben has picked up in the last few years. There is probably nothing more to that than a coincidence than just both publishers preferring to work with other French developers, but it does kind of raise an eyebrow. As it stands, Greedfall looks like it will still be published by Focus Home Interactive on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, September 10th. Like I said, short article, but again, it's like I said, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I did want to talk about Spiders and why I think this is actually a good move for the developer. Or maybe not exciting. I know it's Big Ben who acquired the studio, but again, if they can keep the talent at Spiders, the people who can really come up with these ideas and who can really put a lot of this work into something, into a game and all. Let me restart the sentence here. If they can keep these people who can come up with all these really cool ideas and then give a publisher behind them who's actually got capital to put into the games, I think Spiders can then deliver on these ideas that they promise. So I really think this is a good move for Spiders in the long run to be acquired by this larger publisher. And I mean nothing against Focus Home Interactive. I mean, Focus Home has done some really cool stuff in the past while. I believe I need to double check this, but I believe they were the publisher behind probably another one of my favorite games this year, which was A Plague Tale: Innocence. I thought that game was fantastic. And I believe they were the publisher. I need to double check that, but I believe they were the publisher. But either way, that's all I had on this one. I told you this was going to be a super short article, but I still wanted to cover it. So, all right, let's move on. All right, guys, we're going to move on to our next article here. This is on PC Gamer, written by Andy Chalk. The UK Gambling Commission has said again that loot boxes aren't gambling, and I've said this a lot. This is a sentiment that I agree with. I do not think loot boxes are gambling. I get it. There's some people who think they are. Some people who think that. I think a lot of the opposition to loot boxes, it's in the love of these gambling laws. It's just, I think a lot of people see these as, oh great, we're finding ways to get rid of loot boxes. I don't think it gets rid of loot boxes. I really don't. I think that this is government interfering with the industry where it has no right to. I've said it before. I compare loot boxes more towards trading cards. Again, when you buy a loot box, you know you are paying for a certain amount of items. Look, if you want to say, well, you can buy a higher tier loot box that guarantees a certain rarity of items, so I'm not saying it's not pay to win. I'm saying you are paying for a grouping of random items. That isn't gambling. Gambling is stakes. Again, since this last time that I've talked about this, guess what? I work at a casino now. I know I spend a lot of time around gambling. There are stakes in gambling. I've dealt a lot of blackjack last night. You know, it's who can get closer to 21 without going over. You know, you put money up and you lose it. You either win money or you lose money. This isn't what this is. And it'll even go into why the UK gambling commission even says that. And I kind of disagree with why they say it's not gambling. It's like I said, I think stakes are the reasoning. That's my reasoning behind why I say they're not. And why I compare it more to trading cards. When you buy a pack of trading cards, you know that there are going to be, I don't know, it's been a long time since I bought a pack of trading cards, but you know how many cards there's going to be in this pack, and you buy them not knowing what's in the pack. Well, that's kind of like a loot box. You know there's going to be so many items within the loot box, and you're buying the loot box. Whether it's with in-game currency, you're buying in-game currency with real money. It's not gambling. It's like a raffle. It's like it's like I said, it's more like a raffle. That's what it's just, it's not the same thing as gambling. It might be similar, but it's not the same thing. Excuse me. Let's move on. I'm going to move on to the actual article here. In November 2018, the UK Gambling Commission published a report saying that 30% of the 2,865 children who took part in a poll had opened at least one loot box in a video game. And see, I think a lot of people would say, "Oh, those kids took place in gambling." No, you get loot boxes as a reward sometimes. You get loot boxes, like I said, you can buy loot boxes with in-game currency. You technically, a lot of times, you can get loot boxes without ever having to spend actual money on loot boxes. You know, I mean, any money beyond actually buying the game. So another reason why I think calling loot boxes themselves gambling is completely incorrect. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. It specifically did not draw a line between loot boxes and gambling. However, although that point was muddled by the fact that the loot box issue was addressed in a report about a rise in child gambling. As reported by the BBC, a Gambling Commission Chief Executive Neil MacArthur reiterated that position while speaking to the Department for Culture, Media, and Sports Select Committee, saying that while there are, quote, significant concerns about children playing games that offer loot boxes. I don't see what those concerns are, but okay. Loot boxes themselves do not qualify as a form of gambling under current laws. And I agree with that. The only way to do it is to change the laws like what Belgium did. I disagree with what Belgium did. I said this back then. I think that by looking at it, you can't say that I don't think loot boxes are gambling. I'm not going to say you can't say it because, again, that comes down to your individual point of view. But when Belgium changed the laws, I said I think that's really dumb and a really misinterpretation of what loot boxes are, in my opinion. But again, the law is the law, yes. But again, you have to change the laws to consider them gambling. I think that right there. And I think if you change those laws, again, you got to look at trading cards. How are trading cards? Excuse me. I don't understand. And I'm getting muddled because there's like 4 or 5 points that are kind of running in my head all at once here. But here's another kind of comparison to trading cards that I've never understood when we talk about loot boxes. And that is, how are loot boxes predatory on children, but trading cards aren't? They're the same thing, basically. You pay for a certain amount of items or certain randomized items within a package. That's what you're paying for. And then that you'll use to then go play a game. I don't. Again, it's always been the idea. Well, it's predatory to children. How? That it's fancy packaging. That it's, hey, kids, play this. And plus, what about the adults who buy loot boxes? Oh, it's perfectly fine for them. What about the adults who buy trading cards? It's perfectly fine for them. I said this way back when this was starting to be a hot button issue. And then it kind of died out, even though every outlet and their dog has to put up, oh, this game will or won't have loot boxes. I generally think that loot boxes, I'm not going to say they're a necessary evil. I'm just saying, look, I understand why they exist. I don't like them. That's why I don't buy them. And I think that's the thing. Just don't buy them. I don't understand why everybody flips out. Oh my gosh, there's loot boxes and it makes the game completely unbalanced. Okay, don't play it then. Don't play the online feature. Play the single player feature. Go do this. There's tons of other games to play that don't have them. I've never understood the whole anti-loot box. Like, again, if you have to ask me, do I like them or hate them? My answer was, yeah, I don't like them. But again, it's why I don't interact with them. It's why I don't use them. That is an option here. And I've never understood. And I feel like a lot of people were getting excited with this because they were seeing this as, oh, great, these games can't have loot boxes now. So let's hop onto these laws and it's going to get rid of them for us. And I still think that I'd rather have the devil I know than the devil I don't. My question is, this isn't going to stop companies money grabbing. It's not going to stop companies from coming up with ways to sell these stat boosts. Okay, what are they going to do now? What are they going to do after we get rid of loot boxes? Because they're going to find a new way to do it. To do the same thing, but within the bounds of the law. That's what I'm saying is, it's not going to get rid of the problem. You're solving a symptom, not the issue. That's, again, if I got a little too rambly in there and it stopped making sense, that's generally what I'm saying here. Overall, my issue with loot boxes, it's the money grabbing and everything. And again, it's why I say the best answer to it is don't engage with them. Don't buy them. Don't anything like that. I think that's the best way to handle loot boxes, not make them illegal because think of the children. The whole Hell and Lovejoy bullshit. I don't think it works for them. I don't think it's a good plan. And I don't, it's because like I said, I think you make loot boxes illegal. What's going to happen? They're going to money grub in another way. And honestly, it could be even worse. That's just my take on it. But sorry about the coughing. All right, moving on. Quote, there are other examples of things that look and feel like gambling that legislation tells you are not, such as some prize competitions, but because they have free play or free entry, they are not gambling, but they are a lot like a lottery. MacArthur said, the reason for the exemption is that there are no official channels for monetizing loot box rewards. In order to qualify as gambling, prizes offered must be either money or have monetary value. Gambling Commission's Program Director Brad Enright acknowledged that EA faces, quote, a constant battle against secondary markets that do enable monetization of loot box rewards, but because these markets are not officially sanctioned, they do not count toward the gambling definition. That's similar. Counter-Strike Global Offensive had a similar issue with that. But again, and also if people want to say, they don't have a monetary, the prizes don't have a monetary value. Yes, something can be valued at something, but you can't exchange it for a monetary value. It's like I remember that Star Wars Battlefront 2 had a huge loot box thing for a little bit, which I thought was a terrible way to work progression in that game. That was a bad idea from the start. Good job there, EA. And again, like I said, I want it to be clear. I'm not defending EA for using loot boxes. I'm saying I understand why they're used. And two, I think the proper way to handle it is just don't buy them. It's my opinion here. But honestly, back to what I was actually saying, I remember when they had that. So, you open a loot box and you got like an item or a skill or a power-up or something. You could not then take that and sell that back to EA for money. That's why it's not gambling. All right, that's another reason. Again, you aren't using these things like chips at a casino. It's very different. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. Gambling Commission Program Director Brett Enright acknowledged that EA faces. Oh wait, we already read that. Enright said that. I'm just. Okay, there we go. Enright said that the Gambling Commission has called on the video game industry as a whole to crack down on third-party markets, but ultimately, it's not up to the Commission to clean up the game industry's mess, noting that Counter-Strike Global Offensive is the top source of complaints about skin betting. He said, quote, we think Valve in the U.S. should do more, end quote. See, again, I think that's a rational approach to it. It might look like gambling on the surface, but I think when you really dig into it, loot boxes... Exactly. I mean, again, I think it's saying that loot box rewards can't be officially monetized. I think that's I guess that is the biggest reason why they're exempt for classification, at least in the UK. But yeah, again, I agree with this decision. I do not think they're gambling. I see because again, I think The simplest way I can explain this, all right, because I know he's saving the simplest way for the very end of this. I think the simplest way I can explain this is it's not a bet. It's not a when you buy a loot box either with real money or in-game currency, however you acquire a loot box. It's not a bet. It's not like in like I said, like I deal a lot of blackjack. It's not like blackjack where somebody puts puts the money down and we play the game. If you lose, I take your bet. If you win, I hand you I give you even money to your bet. All right, that's not what this is when you get a loot box. All right, a loot box is you either pay for something and then you get something. It's a transaction. It's a purchase. It's not a bet. It's not a wager. There are no stakes. That's what I keep saying. That's my biggest thing here. With loot boxes, I keep saying I think they're not gambling, and I hate to rehash this issue because again I've kind of gone off of it for a while because I think I made my point clear, but I don't know. I think it's cool to bring kind of revisit these arguments every so often. But all right, moving on. Let's go take a look at Blair Witch. All right, guys, let's hop into the new gameplay for Blair Witch. This is on Game Informer. I don't know why it's so freaking blurry in the first 15 seconds. I don't know why it fixes itself. It's always at the same spot in the video. I think there's a problem with the video, not my internet, like I originally thought it was. Even in the logo is blurry.
Hello and welcome to.
It's got to be an editing issue because it's
joined today by Elise Fab.
There.
Hello.
Hi, and Leo Vader.
Hello.
What are we looking at here, Elise?
This is Blair Witch, obviously based on the Blair Witch franchise and the Blair Witch project that came out in 1999. This is by Bloober Team, the developer that made Observer and Layers of Fear.
Do you think they regret that name? Because I'm just thinking here's the spooky game from Masters of Horror, Bloober Games.
But also I feel like the two B's.
Yeah.
Sometimes I struggle. I'm like, Blooper? No.
Yep.
Bloober.
And that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
You don't want to be.
It's messing with your heads, just like what they plan to do.
As I said earlier, this is what I'm not a fan of. Hey, we got 11 minutes of gameplay and we're joking about the title. I just don't get it. Either way, I guess I just don't see where there's a game here. Maybe it's because I don't fully understand the Blair Witch. I saw the first movie. I just don't care. Maybe it's just because I'm not a fan of those found footage style films. But yeah, I just don't see where there's enough movie here. I know that you're basically a guy out and searching for these kids in the woods, and you have a dog. But I really don't see where there's enough plot to draw out a full game here.
To do in this game.
Yeah.
So maybe it works.
Ellis to base.
So you're here, you're playing as Ellis. It's in first person. You got your walkie-talkie and your dog, Bullet. You are helping a search party to search for a missing boy in the Black Hills Forest, which is the same location as the original movie. Of course, things are a little different this time.
It's 3D.
It's 3D.
You're not that lady.
Yep.
Sure.
But this isn't through a camera right now, right? That's a different mechanic in the game?
So you do have a camcorder, and you can look through its lens, and you can replay footage on your camera, which will maybe give you hints about what's going on.
Well, that's
you'll
disturbing.
find around the forest and things like that. You'll also use it to solve puzzles. So, say you rewind footage of a tree falling, and then it goes back up, standing upward. Then in real life, the tree will also do the same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you've got your dog, and you can give him certain commands, as you've already kind of seen here.
So defile this grave. Perfect.
Disrespect that.
That's right. And there are some behind the scenes relationship mechanics with your dog, where if you build trust between you and your dog, then he will look out for you more, and he'll be more helpful. Whereas, he's scared.
How do you build trust?
Easy boy.
So I don't know exactly. I think it's just in terms of cooperating with each other, and
Giving food, probably.
listening to him maybe when he alerts you of monsters and things like that. And you can pet him, but they told me like you can't like petting him, and like that's not
like
the
a real
only
dog.
thing. Maybe when
I want to say that one more time.
Just in terms of like cooperating with each other. And
yeah, see how it's all foggy and dark.
Maybe when he alerts you of monsters and things like that, and you can pet him, but they told me like
bam, the background changes. Okay, so from the way it looks, it's going more of that. It's like I said, I wasn't a big fan. I barely remember the Blair Witch Project now that I really think about it. I was not a fan of the film. I don't know. I like the idea that they were talking about there, that, you know, it's like you rewind stuff on your camcorder and, you know, then it happens in real life. And, yeah, there's probably going to be some interesting stuff in this game. But right now, to me, it kind of looks like a... Honestly, I'm getting massive Outlast vibes right now. It's more atmospheric than it is like actual, like, there's body or psychological horror or anything. Right now, it's just more like atmosphere horror. I guess is the best way I can put it.
It's not the only factor.
Did I pass out?
But yeah, Bullet is your, you know, best bud, but he's also your guide. He'll like scope things out for you. He can, you know, smell things and then follow the scent and things like that.
Seems like Ellis is losing time, like in the hit film The Blair Witch Project.
Losing time?
Yeah, you know, he just woke up and said, "Did I pass out?" It's kind of weird stuff going on.
That's weird. But yeah, so what's a little different this time in comparison to the original movie is that, you know, in the first film, you don't see the witch ever.
Right.
And I wasn't told if you do in this one, but what you do see are her minions. So there are monsters that you will directly fight. And yeah, and that's a new thing for Bluebird because they don't ever have combat in their games. But there will be combat this time around with your flashlight. Your flashlight is actually kind of like your weapon, and you can
What is this, Alan Wake?
Basically, and temporarily fend them off, but they will come back.
You think Alan Wake's is like, come on, guys.
What
are you doing with that flashlight?
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing.
I invented pointing that at scary things.
Good to know.
I like the idea of having a dog in a horror game. I feel like that is going to vastly increase how stressed I am when monsters are around.
Oh,
if
for
a dog
sure.
is in danger.
And they told me they didn't want it to feel like an escort mission or something like that. Like Bluebird, what am I saying? Bullet can go into places that you can't. Like, for example, right now, he just went into that little building.
Bullet Games and Bluebird as a name for a dog might be a better configuration.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So,
What was that?
yeah.
It went so fast.
That was cool. Whoa.
Weird stuff every once in a while.
Can you record it and then slow down the footage?
Very smart.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Now I'm thinking with
Okay, I want to see that again. That was neat.
So fast.
That's right.
better configuration.
Yeah. So.
What was that?
Yeah.
It went so fast.
That's right. There's weird stuff every once in a while.
Can you record it and then slow down the footage?
Very smart.
Maybe.
Thank you.
All right, look, I mean, I'll admit, I'm not super into horror games, in all honesty. I mean, like, I'll play a few every now and then, you know, Resident Evil is usually one of my go-tos. And I've been kind of on the fence about this game. That was a neat effect, though, dealing with that monster having, you know, dart around and not just kind of stand there and be menacing, or just, like, snap up at you like a jump scare. No, it's, like, sprinting around. It keeps coming in and out of your eye line. Very well done. From the concept of a horror game, because I feel like a lot of games would have it just like snap right at your face, try and shoot for a jump scare or something, not do something like that to build the tension. I like that. That's a nice move.
Maybe.
One of those that even though I don't like them necessarily, I can respect them.
So yeah, here's kind of an example of, you know, one of those monsters coming after you.
So it seems like it's as much about trying to even find the target as it is keeping the flashlight on them.
Yeah. For sure. And also, like, listening to your dog,
Yeah.
too. Like, he'll help you out. And also, you know, certain actions you'll do.
His the dog's eyes are freaking me out, man.
Yes,
That's what they
who's a
told
good
me.
boy?
So you gotta take care of him, too.
And that's our exclusive footage. Now we have regular footage.
It's still very good, though, right?
All amazing.
Well, that answers my next question, which was, can you go outside during the
Yeah. Yeah.
Ellis to base. Do you copy?
Ellis, what are you
joining the search party.
Such a breath of fresh air in the movie whenever it wasn't nighttime anymore. You're like, phew, we have a few hours of not being scared.
Yeah, and someone left us a cool little present by the tent. What's this?
So your walkie-talkie is used to keep in contact with the rest of the search party and the sheriff. Though you may sometimes hear voices in the forest, and you may think it's like you finding the search party again, but be careful because it might be actually the witch screwing with you.
Hate that.
Yeah, she's kind of a jerk. So.
Good dog.
How do we feel?
Why do we have to keep seeing you pet the dog?
expanding on the universe of the Blair Witch Project?
I think it's cool.
It's interesting because before the Blair Witch movie came out, there was like a fake documentary that aired.
Yep.
And it was super interesting.
Yeah, there was the mockumentary, yeah.
Yeah.
Because and under the impression that the movie was real, like going with that narrative.
Yeah. So they've always kind of expanded beyond the scope of that first movie in some ways, but yeah, I am curious to I don't want a boss battle with the Blair Witch though, right?
Right. I almost hope that they never show the witch here too.
Yeah.
I mean, it does give me some pause that they show the minions, and that there are like monsters that you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I understand trying to like.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, I did kind of want to kind of take back some of what I said. You know, I'll give these guys credit. You know, they do go into they are actually picking apart what we're seeing here, and okay. So I've seen these guys in another video, like for Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and there wasn't a lot of picking apart. It was a lot of just bull crap in my opinion. But I give them some credit here. Okay, they are really picking this apart, and And I do think that make an interesting point here. Does having minions and fights and whatnot in this game actually kind of ruin the aesthetic that is the Blair Witch Project and everything? I'm not 100% sure. Again, it's like I said, this property isn't my forte, but I think it would be really hard to have a game of just walking through a spooky forest. You know, I mean, like, there's been some weird avant-garde and some weird projects or whatever. I mean, I loved, holy crap, why can't I remember the name of the game? I loved Firewatch. But that game really, that game was, hiking simulator or whatever. So I guess I'm not one to talk, but yeah, I don't think they could sell this game as just spooky walk through the forest. At least I will give them at least the effects on the minions are cool, and if it's a lot of that, I'm actually a lot more okay with it than just having, they turn it into an action game. I like how it's still kind of an atmospheric horror sort of title. I like the thing with the dog. I mean, it's interesting. I think it's going to get it's going to be kind of repetitive by the end, and it's not going to be like a unique use of a dog. I mean, like, oh, the dog can get places you can't. Oh, great. It's okay. It's doing with this dog what games have been doing with dogs for a long time. So, but it's still, because it kind of even reminds me of dog meat from Fallout 4. But still, though, I will say this: I as a guy who is not usually a fan of horror games, who's even on the fence about playing this one, they have me intrigued.
Gamified.
Put it that way.
Too,
Yeah.
I
wonder if they'll do something like they did like Arcane did with Prey, where you see these weird otherworldly things, but they're kind of like shapes more than like just a guy walking around. You know what I mean? So like the minions, I hope when they die, they fade away almost instantly, so you can't just walk over to them and look at them.
Drag their body around.
Yeah, like there's not just a corpse laying there.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
I think that's a good idea.
The way Bloober described the witch to me, or like their kind of approach to it, is like, well, they don't see her as like one single entity. She's kind of just this force that can, change the environment around you, or have these different supernatural beings come after you. We're gonna I won't say anything, but we should just watch here something.
Okay.
Dog sounds agitated.
Yeah. Just wants a treat.
It's a classic video game flashlight right there too.
Terrible batteries.
Crapping out on you.
Oh, I thought there was something coming right then. Maybe it's a bit later. But yeah. So the fact that the like flashlight kind of flickers sometimes. It made me wonder if I don't know if anyone here has played Outlast, either of you. But I was like, oh, I wonder if there's gonna be like that batteries mechanic, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of hope not, to be honest.
Because then you have to have a bunch of batteries laying around in the woods.
Which is weird.
Right.
And that was already a little weird in Outlast 2, because it was also a...
See, I like that how the camera's down here and not right in front of your face. You're not seeing it through the camera. You're seeing it down here. That's a neat a neat way to do this, because you can still kind of see the outline of the forest. I wish it wasn't so just jumping around and cutting. I wish it would show a little bit more of that, because that was a really neat little moment. But again, it's like I keep saying. It's I what they're comparing this to Outlast. I am getting massive Outlast vibes here.
And yeah, that was kind of bizarre.
You'd
Yeah.
think at least they would do one of those like cranky kind of flashlights.
Right, with a crank, yeah.
Chernobyl style.
Exactly.
Did you guys know this game is real? It's based on real events. All this
Wait,
stuff
this
actually
is
is
real
happening.
life?
Yeah.
Are we like where we are right now? In this
Holy
video?
fucking hell!
A real guy.
Oh, that was
That was,
holy crap! I gotta.
It's based on real events. All this
Wait,
stuff
this is
actually is
real
happening.
life?
Yeah.
Are we like where we are right now in this studio's not?
Oh, no.
shit.
A real guy's doing
That was neat. Well done.
That was another question I was going to ask. Are you just going to walk in circles a bunch here?
I don't know.
Yeah, like the forest from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Or the forest from Blair Witch Project?
Yeah, like but I mean like in a video game context.
But yeah, it takes place in 1996. And they said that they kind of chose that because they want to get away from the smartphones and
yeah.
that kind of technology
Okay.
era. So you can't just like pull your phone and use GPS or something.
Okay. But it's not going to be like a,
Here, boy.
I'm on the radio with the sheriff. Hey, you going to the Stone Temple Pilots concert? It's
not that kind of game.
My flannel is
I need to turn my Weezer shirt into a bandage.
Honestly, though, if this was a game that, and then suddenly, like, you're in a forest and then all of a sudden you're at a Stone Temple's pilot, like, I would play that.
Yeah.
I would totally play that.
Yeah, just a homage to the 90s. Let's go that direction, you know?
Yeah.
Ah, there's the crank we wanted so badly.
Is the witch pulling that
Called
crank?
it. Maybe.
Hey, more Alan Wake
Sawmill
crap.
in the game?
Apparently.
Cool.
Very cool.
There's a sign for it.
A logging operation out here. They stopped giving out permits in the 60s.
Yeah, I keep thinking a lot about Outlast 2 with this footage.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
does feel quite reminiscent, especially because of the video camera and the
Yeah,
setting.
for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's why they were the right team for the job.
Yeah.
See if
Natural
you can
fit.
find something, buddy.
I'm always here for dog mechanics.
Yeah.
I always show up day one, you know?
Yep. Your support.
And those dog interactions.
Very cool. All right, when is this out, Elise?
This is out August 30th on Xbox One and PC.
It looks like
Oh,
it might
huh.
be scary.
Possibly.
We'll see.
We'll see when it comes out.
Excellent. Well, thanks for showing this off, Elise.
Yeah, thank you.
And Leo, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm leaning towards I probably won't because it looks slow and it's not my kind of thing that I would really enjoy playing. It's one of those that I don't know. It's one of those I would love to watch a let's play of this, but I would not like to play it personally. But I can definitely see where this would grab some people. I mean, it really looks like there's a lot of cool shit here. I mean, especially with the way the monsters are designed, the way they move and dart in and out. At times, if you notice, like it seemed like the character Ellis, his vision kind of had like this tunnel vision effect. Like I'm not sure if it's like a fear mechanic or something, but it was a really. I think there's going to be some really neat things done here in this game. I think it's going to be a pretty slow burn, but yeah. There we go. There's some of the Blair Witch out August 30th. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. I know this was kind of short, kind of rambly at times. or whatever. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. You can always leave me a comment on any of the articles that we talked about down in the comments below. If you ever want to send me articles to talk about in the show, you can always do that on any of the social media platforms listed in the description, or send me links down in the articles or down in the comments. I brain fart there. Anything else? Other than that, like I said, like the title of this episode says, this is the new day for this episode. It will be out on Sundays. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys. Social media, that is Facebook, Twitter, the website, minds.com. Links to that stuff is down in the description below. Like, comment, you're not already. Please subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned more next time. Till then, my name's AJ Gills. This is Something Game Channel. Thanks for watching. I'm out.